Linda was known as a woman of great wealth and mystery. In a town where men often boasted of their fortunes, her riches shone like a hidden star. Many wondered how a woman could own so much and command such respect. Linda walked with calm pride, and her eyes carried secrets that no one could guess. The town was filled with hushed whispers and fearful looks when she passed by. The streets turned silent in her presence, and even the strongest men felt small and uneasy. From an early age, Linda learned to use her charm and cunning to win the hearts and minds of those around her. Her beauty was rare and striking, with a smooth skin that glowed in the light and deep eyes that seemed to see into the soul. Men and women alike marveled at her, but it was the men who feared her most. They saw her not only as a symbol of wealth, but also as a powerful force that could shape destinies. Many men tried to approach her, hoping to bask in her light and share in her riches. Yet few ever returned from their encounters. Despite the beauty of Linda and her charm, strange tales began to spread about missing men. Jack, a young man known for his daring spirit, was the first to vanish without a trace. His disappearance left his family and friends in sorrow and confusion. Soon after, another man, Mark, followed the same mysterious path. Mark was known to be brave and loyal, but his fate was sealed by his curiosity. The pattern continued when Paul, a well-respected merchant, also disappeared under strange circumstances. The people whispered that the hand of fate was at work, or that a secret curse haunted the land. But the truth was hidden behind the enigmatic smile of Linda. Linda had a secret that no one could suspect. In the hidden corridors of her vast mansion, she cared for a creature that was as old as time. This creature was a great snake, large and powerful, whose scales shimmered with an unusual glow. The snake was not a mere animal, it was a living force that held the promise of more wealth and power. Linda had discovered that by offering the life of a man to the snake, she could draw strength and fortune from the ancient magic that flowed through the creature. Each sacrifice brought her closer to a destiny that no one else could imagine. The ritual was simple yet steeped in mystery. Linda would lure a man with promises of wealth and secrets of success. Once the man was alone with her, he would vanish into the shadows of her hidden chamber. There, the snake awaited its next offering. The creature would coil itself around the man and swallow him whole, absorbing his life force. In return, Linda would find her coffers filled with gold and treasures. The process was silent and unseen, leaving behind only the faintest trace of dark magic. The serpent's power grew with every sacrifice, and with it, so did Linda's wealth. The townspeople began to piece together the strange events. They spoke of the men who had disappeared and the wealthy woman who remained untouched by the hardships of life. Some believed that Linda was blessed by a higher power, while others feared that she had made a dark pact. The truth lay in the hidden chamber of her mansion, guarded by a creature of old legend. Many tried to uncover the secret, but the path was fraught with danger and despair. Linda's mansion became a place of fear and wonder, a place where the night seemed to hide its secrets in the shadows. Despite the dark nature of her deeds, Linda carried herself with an air of calm assurance. She smiled gently at those who dared to approach her, and her voice was soft as a lullaby. But behind that gentle face lay a heart hardened by ambition and a desire for even greater power. The snake, her silent partner in crime, was the key to a future of unimaginable wealth. As each man disappeared into the dark, Linda grew more confident in the power of her secret ritual. One evening, under a sky full of stars, Linda sat in her grand hall and pondered the path she had taken. The hall was vast and filled with treasures from distant lands, each piece telling a story of conquest and mystery. She remembered the faces of those who had given their lives to the snake, and she felt a thrill at the thought of more riches to come. The serpent, coiled in its hidden lair, stirred as if it sensed a change in the air. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, and its scales shimmered with an eerie brilliance. Linda knew that the snake's hunger was never fully satisfied. The creature had grown powerful and now sought a special offering. It demanded the blood of a young virgin, a pure soul untouched by the vices of the world. This request was different from all before, for it was not enough to simply take a life. The snake needed something more pure, something that could bind the power of magic to Linda in a way that no sacrifice had ever done. Linda had longed for a way to secure her place among the richest and most powerful, and this was her chance. At the thought of the new ritual, Linda felt both excitement and fear. She knew that failure would cost her dearly, for the serpent did not forgive mistakes. The secret of the young virgin was a sharp test that promised great wealth yet demanded pure blood. Linda began to search for a candidate whose youth and innocence would meet the snake's desire. In her thoughts, she remembered the face of a young man named Luke, whose look suggested innocence. Unaware, she set in motion a decision that would doom her empire truly. Linda's eyes sparkled with a new purpose as she recalled the face of Luke, a young man who seemed pure and innocent. The memory of his gentle smile and clear eyes stirred in her a hope that her new ritual might succeed. She knew the serpent's demand for a virgin was a test that few could pass. Yet she believed that Luke could be the key to unlocking even greater power and wealth. With her heart pounding with both ambition and dread, she set her plan in motion. Luke lived in a quiet town on the edge of a busy city. He was known for his kind heart and simple ways. Every day, he worked at a local store and helped his neighbors without asking for much in return. His dreams were big, yet his life was humble and filled with routine. Beneath his gentle smile, however, lay a secret. Though he looked pure and honest, Luke was not as innocent as he appeared. In his youth, he had made choices that he now hid from the world. He had many sexual encounters with multiple ladies from neighboring towns that no one knew of. He carried his secret like a heavy burden, afraid that one day it might be discovered and ruin his chance for a new beginning. One cool morning, Linda sent a soft invitation to Luke. Her words were gentle and full of promise, speaking of fresh starts and the opportunity to grasp a life beyond his ordinary days. Luke felt a spark of curiosity and hope as he read her message. Though uncertainty churned inside him, he thought that maybe, just maybe, this meeting could lead him to the future he had long dreamed about. With a mixture of excitement and apprehension, he accepted her invitation. The day of the meeting dawned with a mild light and a quiet breeze. Under the shelter of a large old tree in a small garden near the city center, Linda waited with calm confidence. As Luke arrived, the peaceful air seemed to hold a secret energy. Linda greeted him with a kind smile that masked the dark purpose behind her gentle words. Together, they walked slowly along a winding gravel path, where the soft sounds of nature filled the silence between them. As they strolled, Linda spoke of dreams and treasures that lay hidden from ordinary eyes. She told him of mysterious powers and ancient forces that could transform lives. Her words were simple yet filled with an undercurrent of magic. She described a secret place within her grand mansion where a powerful creature resided, a great snake that had helped her gain unimaginable wealth. Linda explained that the snake demanded a special sacrifice, the pure blood of a virgin. She stressed that this sacrifice was not merely a dark ritual but a sacred bond between the ancient magic of the snake and the promise of a new future. Luke listened intently as he tried to understand the meaning behind her words. His heart fluttered with both hope and fear. The idea of wealth and power tempted him, yet he felt a deep unease at the thought of the cost required. He recalled his hidden past and the choices he had made, realizing that he carried a secret that might doom the ritual if revealed. Even as he was drawn toward the promise of a better life, his mind raced with worry. He wondered if his hidden truth would bring danger to them both. When the conversation drew to a close, Linda invited Luke to visit her mansion. She promised that within its ancient walls lay answers and wonders that would help him grasp his destiny. Though apprehensive, Luke could not resist the lure of discovering a world beyond his ordinary existence. Together, they left the garden and walked along a quiet road that wound its way to the grand estate. The mansion rose before them like a silent guardian of old secrets. Its tall walls, weathered by time, exuded strength and mystery. As Luke entered the estate, he saw many rooms filled with treasures from distant lands. Rich fabrics, shining jewels, and mysterious artifacts lined the corridors, each whispering stories of long-forgotten legends. Yet, even amidst the splendor, a chill seemed to linger in the air, a reminder that dark rituals and old pacts had been made within these walls. Linda led Luke through a narrow corridor to a heavy wooden door at the end of the hall. Beyond this door lay the hidden chamber where the great snake awaited its next sacrifice. The corridor was dimly lit, and the further they walked, the colder the air became. Linda moved with quiet certainty, while Luke's steps faltered as his heart began to pound with growing anxiety. When the door slowly creaked open, a vast, eerie room revealed itself. In the center of the chamber stood a large stone altar, and coiled around it was the majestic snake. Its scales shone with an unearthly light, and its eyes burned with an ancient, knowing fire. The creature's silent presence filled the room with a power that made Luke's skin crawl and his thoughts race. Linda explained, in soft but firm tones, that the serpent required the pure blood of a virgin to bestow its magic upon them both. She spoke of the ritual as if it were a noble gift, a chance to join in the great dance of fate and fortune. Luke felt his heart tighten at her words. His mind was torn between the tempting promise of wealth and the haunting truth of his hidden past. The snake's eyes seemed to bore into his soul, as if it sensed the secret he had long concealed. Even as Linda's calm voice urged him to trust in the destiny that lay before them, Luke's inner turmoil grew. He knew that if he continued on this path, his secret might soon be exposed to the ancient power of the serpent. As twilight deepened, Linda busied herself with final preparations for the ritual. She arranged sacred items on the stone altar and called for her servants to ready the chamber for the impending ceremony. The atmosphere grew heavy with a mix of anticipation and dread. Every step Linda took was filled with a calm determination that masked the chaos within her own heart. Luke, meanwhile, sat quietly on a cold stone bench at the edge of the chamber, lost in troubled thoughts. He thought of the choices he had made and the life he wished to escape, and his pulse quickened with anxiety. The mansion itself seemed to hold its breath as the appointed hour neared. Shadows lengthened and merged with the darkness of the room, creating shapes that danced silently on the walls. Linda's eyes shone with a fierce light as she glanced at Luke. She knew that in just a few moments, their fates would be sealed. The snake stirred slowly, its long body shifting with a silent promise of power. Its gaze, fixed upon Luke, made it clear that the ancient creature was ready to accept the sacrifice it had long awaited. In that charged moment, as the final light of day faded away, Luke felt the crushing weight of his secret press upon him. His heart pounded in his chest as he contemplated the ritual and the price that must be paid for the promise of wealth. Linda reached out with a steady hand, her touch both inviting and commanding. She was determined to see the ritual through, no matter the cost. Luke, torn between hope and terror, felt trapped on a path from which there was no return. Thus, the night held its breath as the great ritual was about to begin, and the hidden secrets of both heart and ancient magic would soon be revealed. Night deepened as the chamber grew colder and the ancient power stirred with a life of its own. Linda stood before the stone altar, her hand steady yet her heart filled with a mix of hope and dread. The serpent's eyes glowed with a fierce, unyielding light, fixated on Luke, who sat trembling on a cold stone bench. In that heavy silence, Linda began the ritual with soft, measured words that echoed against the ancient walls. She called upon the old magic, the kind that had once filled her life with riches and power. Her voice was calm, but the air trembled with the weight of destiny. Luke's heart pounded as he realized the moment of truth had come. The snake, whose form twisted and coiled in patient expectancy, moved slowly toward him. Its long, shimmering body slid across the cold floor as if guided by a silent command. Luke felt his secret, hidden for so long behind his gentle smile, press upon him like a heavy shroud. In his eyes was the fear of the unknown and the sting of guilt for the lie he had carried. Linda, though calm in appearance, felt a spark of triumph mixed with a hidden dread. She had believed that Luke's unblemished soul would fulfill the serpent's demand. But now, in that tense moment, the truth began to unravel. With a sudden, almost imperceptible motion, the serpent slid its long body around Luke. Its scales glistened in the dim light as it drew near, its eyes burning with an ancient hunger. For a few heartbeats, time seemed to slow. The ritual's sacred incantations filled the chamber, and the serpent's coils tightened. But then something unexpected stirred within the creature. A flicker passed through its eyes, and its body shivered in a way that defied its usual controlled power. Linda's calm face fell into an expression of confusion and alarm. The snake's reaction was not the one it had shown with every sacrifice before. It paused, its body rigid, as if it sensed a betrayal in the very essence of the offering. The serpent's gaze locked on Luke once more, and in that moment, its ancient wisdom uncovered the hidden truth: the purity it had demanded was missing. Luke's secret, the truth behind his gentle appearance, was revealed in the subtle change in the snake's manner. The creature's body trembled and then, with a sudden burst of energy, it broke free from the altar's hold. In a flash of movement that left Linda rooted in shock, the serpent twisted away. Its body surged toward the grand halls of the mansion, carrying with it a cascade of shimmering light. In its swift departure, the creature gathered not only the treasure that had accumulated over years of dark ritual but also the very magic that had bound Linda to its service. Linda reached out in vain, her arms stretching into the empty space where the snake had been, but it was too late. The serpent had taken off into the dark night, leaving behind a room filled with echoing silence and a power that was rapidly fading. Luke sat in stunned disbelief as the serpent disappeared into the shadows, taking with it the wealth and power that had been the cornerstone of Linda's empire. The chamber, once filled with the promise of magic and gold, now felt hollow and cold. Linda's eyes, which had once shone with fierce determination, now filled with a dawning horror. The grand design she had crafted over many years was crumbling before her eyes. Her wealth, the very symbol of her influence and might, was gone, snatched away by the creature she had controlled for so long. As the realization sank in, Linda's mind began to unravel. The betrayal by the ancient serpent was more than a failure of ritual, it was a shattering of her very identity. In the ensuing moments, the dark magic that had once empowered her now twisted into a force of madness. The mighty woman, revered and feared by many, felt her carefully built world collapse into chaos. The grand halls of her mansion, once filled with treasures and echoes of success, grew dark and empty as the power that sustained them vanished. In the hours that followed, Linda wandered the vast corridors of her estate with a wild, haunted look in her eyes. Her steps, once measured and confident, now faltered as she roamed the rooms in a daze. The opulence of her life, the glimmering jewels, the soft fabric of rich gowns, the echo of whispered deals, lost all meaning. The mighty empire she had built through dark ritual was gone. All that remained was the bitter taste of loss and the echoing sound of her own despair. Unable to bear the emptiness of her former life, Linda left the mansion. Outside, the city continued its busy hum, unaware of the tragic downfall of its once feared ruler. The streets, once lined with admiration for her wealth and power, now whispered of her madness. The once majestic Linda was seen wandering the alleys and market squares, her eyes wild and her mind fractured by grief. In her confused state, she began to scavenge for sustenance in the most unlikely places. The bustling market dumps, where discarded food and waste lay forgotten, became her new domain. In a tragic twist of fate, the woman who had commanded fortunes now found herself drawn to the remnants of what others had thrown away. Each day, Linda roamed these dump places, her hunger unyielding, her mind lost in a fog of regret and madness. The people of the city spoke in hushed tones about her fall from grace, a cautionary tale of ambition and dark bargains. Her descent was both sudden and tragic, a reversal of fortunes that left many in sorrow and disbelief. Meanwhile, Luke remained in the silent mansion, his heart heavy with regret. The secret he had hidden for so long had not only doomed the ritual but had also led to the fall of a mighty woman. He was tormented by the knowledge that his deception had cost Linda everything. In the quiet of that vast, empty estate, he vowed to change his life and to live honestly from that day forward. The weight of his secret, now laid bare by the serpent's rejection, was a lesson he would carry with him for the rest of his days. As the first light of dawn crept over the city, the tragic story of Linda's downfall spread among the people. They recalled the days when she had been a symbol of power, a woman who had commanded respect and fear with a mere glance. Now, however, she was a broken figure, a warning of the price one pays for seeking power through deceit and dark magic. The Grand Serpent, whose betrayal had marked the end of her reign, became a legend in its own right, a reminder that true power lies not in wealth or dark rituals, but in truth and honor. The marketplace, once vibrant with the riches that Linda had displayed, now bore the scars of her descent. The treasures that had once glittered in her grand halls were no more, taken away by a force that cared not for the ambitions of a single, flawed soul. And as Linda, lost in her madness, wandered the streets in search of a past that could never be reclaimed, the echoes of that fateful night continued to haunt the people of the city. Thus ended the tragic saga of Linda, the mighty woman who fed men to a powerful snake in her quest for ever greater wealth. Her story, filled with ambition, deceit, and ultimate betrayal, served as a timeless warning. The fall of Linda reminded all who heard it that the pursuit of power through dark means can lead to a downfall as profound as it is swift. And as the city slowly awakened to a new day, the memory of that night lived on. A story of lost riches, broken dreams, and a cautionary whisper in the wind.